Welcome to Matrimonial Merger, the podcast where Ambry and Jesse, a husband and wife couple, share their insights and experiences on relationships, health, and wealth. With their expertise in business and as neuro-linguistic master practitioners, they provide valuable advice on overcoming challenges and achieving success. Join us for practical tips on navigating the intersection of personal and professional life.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Matrimonial Merger. Tonight, we are talking about the power of language. When was the last time you stopped to think about the words you use and the power they have in your life? That's what we're talking about tonight, and I'm super excited to dive in.
And before we dive in, please go click on the show notes for the Business Liberation System, where you can go in and create freedom in your business, creating more time, more money, more fun. The best news about it is you don't have to do it for your business. If you're not a self-employed or entrepreneur business owner, you can go in and create a different lifestyle and eliminate some of the minutia and the tasks that are going on in your life. I used it.
Those were some good words.
There
You really must care about the words you use in your life.
I like what you did there. When's the last time you checked yourself? And
this is such a good
at the
one.
words you were saying. I truly want to know, when's the last time you paid conscientious attention to the words you're saying?
Yeah. The labels. Labels are such a big thing in our life. You could say in our culture, our society, whatever, in our world. Labels are they're a thing, and they're overused on a daily, hourly, minutely, secondly. Is that a thing?
I don't know.
On a secondly basis. But really, I want you today, now that you're listening to this podcast, I want you to consider, as you go throughout your day, after you're done listening to this, I just want you to think about, not only for yourself, but the people around you. Listen to the labels that are used, the words that are used, and oftentimes in a negative sense, right? Words I don't know, insane or
psycho
or exhausting. And I'm not saying all these words are bad words, right? But we put labels on ourselves. When we're feeling negative or we're not feeling confident or, we're unsure about what other people are thinking, we put labels on ourselves and on other people. And it's dangerous. It's dangerous work. We don't do that. Don't
dangerous work.
What is that from? I don't know where that came from, but you've said that before.
Yes.
Anyways, what is that even from?
I'm trying to remember.
Oh, that's funny.
It will come to me.
Anyways, these labels though, they are so powerful when it comes to the way you're designing and creating yourself and your reality, and the way your unconscious mind is choosing to respond.
Yeah.
Because, if you label yourself as fat or lazy or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Well, your words are powerful. That's what you are. You're becoming what you tell yourself you are.
I think of this as marketing, to kind of go into the business aspect of things for a moment. It's proven that after you see something around 7 times, you buy it. And so now I want you to think about the words. It's proven that after you hear those words, maybe it's 7 times, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. Doesn't really matter the amount of times. But if you hear those words, at what point do you buy that?
Right.
And accept that for yourself? If we use the word psycho 30,000 times describing someone, at what point do you buy into the fact? Or what if you're describing yourself that? At what point do you buy into the fact that you are dealing with some psychotic stuff?
Yeah.
Marketing, we could go so deep into marketing, but in all honesty, after 7 times of experiencing something, you are very, very likely to buy if it resonates with you on an unconscious level.
Yeah. If you tell someone, yourself, a colleague, an employee, a child, whatever, right? If you tell someone over and over what they are or how they are, or they're going to believe that. So choose wisely what it is that you're saying, what it is that you're projecting on them. It's we just finished potty training with our little boy, and there were so many times when it was just oh my gosh, an accident. It's I thought we were past this, whatever. And the initial human response in me wants to be oh my gosh, no, this is so frustrating. This is oh, how could this happen again? And all of a sudden, our little boy is like, oh, I'm so frustrated. Like, I'm so bad at this. And I have to stop and go, no, like that is not how we're labeling or creating this situation. Absolutely not. So we have to shift it and turn it to like, you know what? You're getting better at this every day. You are putting effort and intention in this direction. You are doing really well. You are, and creating these positive labels so that that's what he wants to, go towards. Yeah. I mean, if someone, let's say an employee delivers poorly on a project, do you go like scorch them and tell them how horrible they did and what a bad job? Or do you go tell them, you know what, like I can really see where you put in your effort and creativity. Let's talk about some things that we can like implement to help this serve our purpose better, whatever, right? I mean, the way you address and explain and the words that you use completely alter the outcome that you're going to experience.
Well, and I want you to think too how closely your mind and your body are together. Like your mind and your body are extremely close. And so when you start saying things like, oh, I'm so tired, or I notice this actually with myself. There are times when I'm like, I know when I do leg day at the gym, I am going to be so sore. And like 3 days go by from the time I did leg day and I'm still hobbling around. And it's because I've bought into this idea that leg day is actually going to last forever and it sucks and all this other stuff. Mm-hmm. And I remember on Saturday when I was there, I was like, I don't want to do this. And I'm like, why don't I want to do this? Like, in all honesty, what is it? And I started to reconsider the fact that it's because I've put so much negative and I've believed it, right? And, all the gym, like whatever, anytime I've gone to the gym, it's leg day. Oh, and my brothers, like, I think of them when we all talk about leg days. It's just like a bunch of negative.
Leg day,
right.
Like, it's all negative messaging.
It's all negative
right?
messaging. So then when I get to it, it's like, actually, leg day is very good for me, but it was just one of those things where it's like, I'm going to be sore for 3 days or 4 days, but my body starts to believe it. Your mind and your body have such a close connection. Like your mind tells the body where it goes to heal. So if your mind believes that you're going to be sore, or your mind believes that you're going to have all this pain, then you're going to have it because your mind believes it and it's telling your body to cause more pain. If you're listening to this show, it's because you're a successful business owner or you're striving to become more successful. But guess what? Anytime you've experienced new success, it has brought new challenges. It's time for a change. Check out the Business Liberation System. It's the key to regaining focus and working on your business, not just in it. You see, as you experience more and more success, that success is bringing new things into your business that's taking away from your concentration, and it's costing you money. You're slowly going from CEO back to an employee, and don't let that catch you. It's time for you to recognize these things and get back on the track of becoming the CEO of your business so that you can work on it. Go to theemergecoaching.com and get on the fast track by joining the Business Liberation System. To get there even faster, click on the show notes and it will take you right to where you need to be. Success should bring freedom, not frustration. Let's get back to the episode.
100%.
So
no one wants pain.
No, they don't. And so as we go through this, like, I want you to just consider like the words you're saying. I made a group of elderly individuals pretty, I don't know, I wouldn't say frustrated. That's not the right term, but I made them raise an eyebrow because we were talking about like gratitude specifically. And I'm like, one of the things I'm working on is being grateful for my body. So instead of waking up or saying comments like, oh, my body's slowing down, or oh, I'm so tired, or oh, all these things, like I want to praise my body and give my body that energy. And I know I raised some eyebrows because one gentleman who's older in age leans over and goes, oh, just wait till you're 70. And it's like,
right.
Well,
let's see, those are the things that we constantly have to be rejecting. I mean, how many times do you hear, like, oh, like this is going to be in your genetics, or, oh, like when you're this age, this or that. I'm not saying I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know what my future looks like, but I'm not going to take on those beliefs right now as a 30-year-old. Like, I'm not going to take on the belief and tell my body to start programming for, A, B, or C when I'm 60, 70 years old. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that.
No, you can't.
Like, I mean, whether or not that could change the trajectory of my health in the future, I'll leave that up for you to decide what you believe on that. But you can't tell me that it's not at least a healthy practice to rid your mind of negativity.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so I don't want that. Awesome. What do I want instead? What do I want to focus on now that will create better health, better wealth, whatever in 30 years, right? What habits am I going to focus on? So maybe I choose, I'm going to take care of my body by exercising, 5 to 6 times a week, 3 to 4 times a week, whatever that looks like for me.
Yeah.
I'm going to take care of my body that way. I'm going to honor my body by, incorporating 3 to 5 servings of fruits and vegetables, because that's more than I've been doing before, right? Or whatever it is. It's just like, it's the little things. It's the, before I've had no like financial goals or financial structure in my self-employed business. So I'm going to implement these systems to improve the financial health of my business.
Right.
Well, what do you think that's going to do for you in 30 years?
Right. It's going to change the complete trajectory of your life.
Right.
Assuming you stick with it.
So it's like someone who's, I'll just make up like some made up example, right? Let's say that you have like a very like experienced, mature person who's like, oh, you don't want to go down that route of business because you'll be like me filing bankruptcy at 60 years old, whatever, right? That's just a random example. Well, what if you were to follow that path, but implement different systems and processes? Maybe you won't be filing bankruptcy at 60 years old.
Right.
So all I'm saying is like beliefs and language are so powerful. They do change the trajectory of your life, your health, your wealth, all of those things.
Well, and I caught myself today because one of the terms I use is that was the single best decision. And I remember I was going to tell you something like we made some changes in our business talking about like reframing and changing the trajectory of things. We shuffled some things around in one of our businesses, and our admin is thriving right now.
Yeah.
Like, well, I don't want to speak for her, but our position of admin is thriving. Like all the things that we've wanted it to become, it is.
It's becoming.
It's
through
becoming
through this like the small steps and the
right.
It's the macros of the
attention to detail.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's thriving. And I went to say that is, and you were like, the single greatest thing you've ever done. And I'm like, no, actually, like it kind of caught me off guard because I was like, I can't be saying that because that diminishes all the other great things I've done by saying the single best. Like,
because it's a combination of so many things, but
right.
Yeah.
And so I had to check myself even saying something like that. Like it was just a terminology as it that, is accepted a lot. The single greatest decision ever made. Well, no, there's multiple great decisions made every single day for me because I'm surrounded with great opportunities to make great decisions. Like you have to start to really pay attention to the words you're saying. And as you do, it starts to shift the way you actually view yourself.
Yeah.
Right. Like when I had the hardest time accepting compliments, someone would go, oh, you're looking good. I'm like, oh, great. But you look good too. Like, and I'd kind of downplay it. Well, now it's at the point where it's like when someone pays me a compliment, I just say thank you. Right? Because I need to hear that from someone else. My unconscious mind needs to know that like I am becoming. And then also I'm able to, in other ways of the conversation, pay them back a compliment or acknowledge other things, but it doesn't mean I have to give right back. Like I'm working on receiving more.
And what a great thing to accept a positive suggestion, right? Like, hey, you're really good at this. Oh, no. Well, then your unconscious mind is like, oh, we don't want to be that.
Yeah.
Like that's, we're rejecting that.
Right.
And then someone's like, oh, you suck at this. And you're like, oh.
Oh, yeah, I do suck at that.
Right. It's
You're
like, wait a minute. Like reject that or take the feedback and learn from it and, create a better situation because you're in control of your response. But like, don't read into it. And when you are given like a positive compliment or suggestion, accept it.
Yeah.
Allow yourself to take that in and say, you know what? And I think sometimes too, like, I mean, it's for some reason, it's just kind of in our nature, some of us, to feel like if we accept a compliment or something like that, like we must be prideful or we must be, you know, conceited, whatever. Or you feel like you're taking away from someone else by shining yourself, like whatever it is, that's not doing anyone any favors.
Right.
And it's only hurting you. And it's, you know, the other person, if they're giving you a genuine compliment, like how fun does it feel to give someone a gift or a compliment and have them be like, meh.
Oh,
Like,
let's
they're not going to want to do that again.
let's be honest though. Like the people that like you speaking down on yourself are not the people you want to be around anyways. Like maybe in the
Also a great
moment
point.
that might be a harsh thing to realize because you're like, well, I love my friends.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, imagine how much more love you would have for the people that actually
Yeah.
wanted to see you succeed. Like instead of just sitting there like laughing about you putting yourself down,
Right.
they looked
Oh,
at
I
you
have a
and
huge
said,
problem with that. And
right.
I'm a fan of joking and sarcasm and, you know, fun. Like that's all great. But when it steps over the boundaries of like poking fun at yourself or others, like
Yeah.
it's unacceptable.
Right.
It's not like, don't do that to yourself and don't allow your friends to support or encourage that.
Well, I used to be the guy that always would like poke fun at my hair or whatever, right? Like, but now it's like it's different. Like I made a comment today when everyone was asking about Trey's haircut when he was getting his haircut today, and I was like, it's funny how you're all asking from the advice from the guy that doesn't have hair, like, but it just is, right? Like I'm not putting myself
Because
down.
you love Trey's hair. You're very
But-
passionate about it.
But it's like I can say that. On the flip side, I look the best I've ever looked. I'm dressed for success. Like I look like I walk in anywhere and I feel like I'm commanding the power of the room. Like my energy levels are so high. So I'm not putting myself down. It's just fun. Like,
Yeah.
but I'm not there actually believing it.
Yeah.
Right. Like in my mind, I know that hair growth could be a possibility. Anything's a possibility. I just haven't discovered it yet.
Yeah.
But do I need to? I don't know. Right. But like going back to it, like I want you to think about this. Your words can literally be self-fulfilling prophecies in either which direction. Oh, if I keep eating like this, I'm going to get fat. Yep. You probably will. And you'll get fat. Right.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, your habits are going to follow your
exactly.
beliefs, and beliefs are
Right.
created by, you know, the things we say, the things we bring into our neurology,
Yeah.
whether it's things that we say, things someone else says that we accept, you know, like that's how those beliefs are created.
It could also be for the positive. If you consistently told yourself every single day that you were in your best shape, you were healthy, you were eating the best foods, like you deserve the best because you are becoming the best. Imagine the quality of conversations, imagine the quality of food, the workouts, whatever the case. Like that's something I've done clear down to the T. Like when I leave the house, unless it's go to the gym, like I look my best because I believe that I'm surrounded by the best. And so I jump in my car and my car is the best, right? Like everything is best because I feel successful when I'm looking this way. And so when I get up, I shower, I shave.
It's not even about the look, it's about the feeling. The feeling that it creates for you. I mean, you attract what you believe you are and what you believe you deserve and what you believe that you emulate, right? And so, you know, it's up to you what that is, how to define that.
But let me tell you, like the journey, like over the last 2 years of going from wearing JCPenney's oversized clothes and hand-me-downs from my stepdad, like going from that to wearing at one point I looked at my outfit and I'm like, I'm wearing around $800 worth of clothing. Not that the price matters, but like to me, I was like, whoa, like to see that huge change of like, here's someone that barely bought clothes for themselves to now here's someone that's dressing this way. Like, let me tell you, the progression between those two things is night and day difference.
Yeah.
Like I'm closing more business at a higher level than I've ever closed in my life. Like dollar wise. I mean, we had one of the biggest commission checks ever. And then on the same day that closed, someone else reaches out to me and says, by the way, here's a $3.9 million apartment complex in New York City I need your help with. And I'm like, whoa. Like I'm going, like we are going outside of just this little bubble that we call Utah.
Mhm.
We are now doing things across the United States at massive levels because people start to look at us differently because we have looked at ourselves
Right.
differently.
And that can look different for every single person, right? It's not going to look the same. You can't just go dress like the person you think is successful. And, you have to, it has to come from within you. What do
have to
you
feel,
want?
right.
Yeah. And so you'll know what that is for you. But yeah, I mean, it is interesting because I remember, back in the day when you weren't taking care of yourself as passionately, right? And I remember like we'd be going out on a date night or to dinner, and I'm like, "Are you like, do you want to wear something besides basketball shorts and a t-shirt?" Or like, and I mean, I learned to love and accept that. I wasn't like,
You
but
were
I
lucky
but
to
I was
get-
like, you could throw some jeans on or something,
Yeah. You were lucky if I wore jeans. You're like, what's the
Yeah, when he would wear
occasion?
jeans, like instead of basketball shorts, I'd be like, whoa,
Yeah.
like, wow, this is nice. Anyways, but what I want to like get out with that is like, it's not 100% like what you are wearing,
Mhm.
it's the combination of that. Obviously, like when you look like you care, people feel like you care,
Yeah.
right? So there's that, right? That is a thing, and there's power in that. But when you have the in-depth rooted belief of who you are, what you deserve, and who you want to be, and who you want to meet, who you want to become,
Right.
you emulate that. And
Yes.
so the way that you dress, the way that you act, all of those things are going to align. So whatever that looks like for you, it will be your best.
Yeah. 100%.
And so that's where like the power comes in the appearance, I guess,
well, and the
if that's what
works.
you want to call it, because it's not like, I mean, you couldn't just go from not caring to throwing on like an expensive watch and shoes and this stuff. You would feel like an imposter.
Right.
If it was just like, oh, I put this on, like now I'm just gonna,
Right. Well, I remember like anytime during that when I like put on a suit, I was like, I don't like this. I feel uncomfortable. Whereas now it's like I put on a suit and I'm just like,
yeah.
But
But you've put in so much time and effort in the like inner,
right.
the inner work,
in the belief.
in the believing in who you are, what it is that you want, where, like what your passion and your purpose is.
Right.
That's where the image comes from.
Right.
Because it's not about the image. It's about what you're emulating.
Right.
That creates.
What are you working towards, right?
Yes,
Like, and as you're
exactly.
working towards things, there's different things that start to stand out to you to make you excited, right? Like I was working towards surrounding myself with excellence. So, naturally here comes the Porsche. Like, and I freaking love that car. And even our 3-year-old, almost 3-year-old, he is so funny because he's like, he recognizes like when he rides in the Porsche, he feels different. Like it's faster and he's, like it's just funny because you start like when you really believe that you deserve something and you go get it, you not only prove to yourself, but you subconsciously show yourself that you are serious about you.
Mm-hmm.
You're cleaning out that inner vessel. Like,
Right.
and as you clean out that inner vessel, more opportunities happen. More things start to open up.
Mm-hmm.
We have someone in our coaching right now that literally sent a message 3 days ago explaining how great his life is and how things have made such a rapid change in his life because he started viewing himself differently. This is an individual that couldn't even buy himself a $200 item at a store. Like,
Right.
he just couldn't do it. In fact, he went in and out of the store several times before he finally did it. And then finally did it. And now all of a sudden, that short gap of, I didn't know, like, if I could do this for myself to now. And I would say what that gap's got to be less than 6 months.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden, we're talking complete and utter paradigm shift in his life. Like going from doing something that it was a challenge for him to buy himself something at the store to now all of a sudden he's got a better job. He's making more money. He's happy. Like listening to him speak is totally different.
And it's interesting because, kind of like I alluded to before, it's not cookie cutter.
No.
The things that motivate him versus you or I are completely different. Right? Like driving around in your car for him, it wouldn't give him that same feeling, that same excitement. It might be like, he might feel like it's fun or cool, but it wouldn't create the same outcome, feeling, motivation, right? So,
but he got like, and one of the things that just recently happened is he says randomly, we don't believe in a coincidence here, but he got $30,000 worth of exclusive hunting tags. Like that motivated him. He was like,
see, that's like,
holy crap.
But
like,
that's the thing. Like for me or you, some other listeners out there, that means nothing to me. Right?
Yeah.
For him, that's huge.
Huge.
So all I'm trying to point out is that like you got to be specific and get into your inner self to understand what it is that you want, what it is that motivates you, and use language, use words, invite, goodness into your life that supports that.
Yeah.
Because it looks different for everybody. So if you're trying to live somebody else's dream, you're not ever going to get yours,
right.
and you're not going to be happy in someone else's dream ever.
Right.
So,
and let me just reiterate there. You may think that living someone else's dream's awesome, but it's because you don't know what your dream is.
Exactly. Right. Like
you haven't figured it out yet.
Right. And it's going to get old fast.
Right. Like I had someone tell me that they hate me because of the way, because you and I are doing all the things that they want to do. They hate me for that. And it's like, okay, well, you're watching me do things that I want to do and that bugs you. But really, I think
what it is, they see
deeper,
your happiness that you're experiencing and the joy. That's what they want.
That's what they want.
They don't want your car. They don't want your shoes. They want what it is you're experiencing, what you're emulating.
Exactly.
So then they got to go figure out what that is specifically for them.
Yeah.
And then go after it. I mean,
but how many times have you had that conversation where someone's like, I am so jealous of you have this. And it's like, no, I could literally give you my life and you would still be frustrated because what I have versus what you perceive that I have, what I have is alignment with myself. The things that make me happy.
It's not the things. It's not the glamour or whatever. It's not the outside appearance. It's the inside vessel that has been, that continues to be refined and
I mean, take my dynamics, everything that you and I have, put us in a third world country. The happiness that we have would not change because we would look at this and say, all right, here we are. This is our situation. What is this going to do to get us to the next level of where we want to go? Mm-hmm. Because we know where we want to go. We know where we're headed. We have the destination in mind. We know what's on the map.
Yeah.
And so throw us anywhere and you and I'd be like, okay, great. Coronavirus doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is, we're going to get through it and figure it out because we know where we're heading. And that's where, like you said, it just comes back down to you have to know what it is that motivates and encourages and inspires you and what you're working towards.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't, then that's when you start to feel envious and jealous of other people.
Right. It's so interesting. Getting specific and promoting and using language and words that support that clarity.
Yes.
I mean, a perfect example, this cracks me up to think about, is like when you very first started using shoes as a way to reward yourself when we closed deals, right, in our real estate business. I remember the first time you came home with the first pair of your Jordans and I was just like, I want this. You were so excited and pumped and motivated. And I was just like, I need to go buy those shoes.
Yes.
And so what did we do? We went shopping. I decided to get a pair of Air Jordans as a reward. And
they're nice, by the way.
They are nice. And I love them. And I was excited and I was kind of riding that same high as you were because I was like, oh, this is new. This is fun. And it was a good experience. But I quickly learned that although that was fun and although I wouldn't change that, that wasn't something that was going to consistently motivate me. Having 30 pairs of those shoes in different colorways on my wall is not going to make me personally happy. So did I really want the shoes, or did I just want the same feeling that you had? Right.
Right.
And I believe it was the feeling. And so,
Yeah.
I reward myself completely different. Like, it's not always the same thing. Most of the time it's not. But it's not going to look the same for everyone.
No.
And so, don't get caught up in what other people are doing specifically or what makes other people happy. Get very specific of what makes you happy, what motivates you, and focus on that.
You see, and one of the things that people when they come into Emerge, and what they say is like, I don't know what makes me happy. And it's like, what makes you happy. It's just you haven't given yourself that opportunity to feel that happiness for so long that it makes you unsure.
Yeah.
But in your mind, that buying yourself a pair of shoes, or that buying yourself a $200 item, maybe it's a Lego, maybe whatever it is, that motivates you and that gets you excited, right? But you've got to go for it. You've got to allow yourself to shine. Like, I think of this so much, like, so many people have this little light and it's small, but it could be so much bigger. But instead of allowing it to actually shine, they just put a box over the top of it and just kind of guard it. And maybe from times they'll peek in and look at the light and
make
be like,
sure it's still there.
Yeah, make sure it's
but
still
it's like
there.
you're protecting it, or like you're resisting the
right.
Yeah.
But like, allow it to shine, allow it to be out there. I mean, I cannot tell you the amount of people. I love my little glasses that match my shoes, that match my watch, and the amount of people that come up and go, "Oh, what are you trying to be, Blippy?" It's like, no, I'm not trying to be anyone but myself. Like, to me, cool. That's your filter. That's what it reminds you of. No, I'm not going after trying to be Blippy. I'm Jesse freaking Fisco. Like, that's what I want to be.
Right.
And this is who I am.
Which is another like interesting thing, right? Because sometimes when we like say something to someone, well, it's almost always, it's through our own filters, right?
Right.
So it's an interesting thing to start to consider, when you're talking to someone else, although you respect your filters, like, what are theirs? Right?
Right.
What resonates with them? Like, maybe instead of like, oh, are you trying to be Blippy? What if you ask someone like, what do these glasses mean for you? Right? Or what,
yeah.
How different could your relationships be if you considered,
the feeling behind it.
Yeah.
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 Absolutely.
Rather than the assumptions. Anyways, just a side note.
Someone comes and asks, like, what do the glasses mean? That conversation's completely different than someone saying, what are you trying to be, Blippy?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, one guy, and I'll share this experience. This was hilarious because it's right after I got my glasses. Yeah, I got my Halloween shoes and I got my Halloween shirt. Like, I'm feeling it, right? Like, I am vibing. I'm like, all this aura. This dude looks at me as I'm walking out of the store and he looks down at my shoes. He's like, I like your shoes, but I hate the color orange. Right? And just like literally just kind of starts like trashing on my outfit. And I'm like, hold on, you paid me a compliment, but now it's focused by a negative. And I was just like, that's cool, man. Like, what is your favorite color? Right? And he tells me, and he's just like, man, you must be making lots of money to walk around like that. And I'm like, you know what? I just believe in being my best. Like, if I'm my best, great things happen. And that's what I believe. So I'm going to look my best every single day because I want great things happening to me every single day. Right?
What a concept.
Exactly. And he just kind of looked at me and he pretty much like just kind of scoffed me off. Like, it must be nice.
Didn't know how to respond.
Didn't know how to respond. But I'm just like, you could do that too. Right? But there's so much intention behind it. It's really, really hard to like put someone down who understands themselves and has so much intention behind what they're doing. Like, someone comes up to me and they start making fun of my fit. I just laugh. I'm not going to show any emotional reaction to the fact that the guy hates the color orange. Could care less. I love the color orange. Right? Like, and there's people, on a side note, my mom, she truly believes, I love her. Mom, if you're listening, you'll remember this. But she went to some like fashionista thing where like they were talking about colors against skin and stuff. And they said orange is the worst color for anyone.
I
like,
agree with that, actually.
So,
I love your orange shoes because I love the
Yes.
purpose behind them, but I do not like the color.
I
orange.
freaking love it. So anyways, my mom, I don't know if I've ever seen her in orange. Like maybe she'll have an orange, but like if she is listening, Mom, love you. I'll never forget. I had to have been like 7 or 8 hearing that and like accepting it for a second, that like orange. But then the reason why is because I had this big orange vest and like I look like a hunter, right? Anyways, way
That's
funny.
so funny.
But
That's
once again,
that has
words.
that color has a deeper meaning for her too.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot.
She's surrounded by orange every day. Anyways, like once again, it doesn't matter. Like anything someone says, it doesn't matter. I could be walking around in a chicken suit, and if that's what vibed with me, and like we were cool, like if I was one with the chickens and that was who I wanted to be, it wouldn't matter, right? Like, but that's the case. Like everyone could sit there and point. And I remember, what was it? That kid that was wearing the big red boots at Handel's Ice Cream. That kid owned it. He wanted the big red boots, and everyone's like, "Oh, I like your boots," kind of sarcastic and like not knowing how to address this.
But you could tell he was
10-year-old.
kind of curious about like what people were thinking.
Oh yeah,
And a little unsure about like are people
Himself.
going to be accepting of this
Right.
statement I'm making, right?
right.
And it almost like when you were genuinely walked up and were like, "I freaking love your boots. Like
Yeah.
that's so cool." He was almost like,
I know.
"Wait, really?"
He's like, "You really like my boots,
like,
right?"
yeah.
But it's getting sure with yourself, right? Like, I understand from that perspective. Would I wear the big red boots? No, right? Like, that's not my jam. However, this kid saw it, liked it, bought it, wanted to wear it around. So who am I to go and tell him that those shoes are ugly or stupid or anything else? That's what makes him feel comfortable. That's who he is. And I think for me, like, I try to understand this a lot because I was the one that walked around with purple mohawk and didn't care what anyone said, right? But like that was just who I wanted to be, and I think that that's what it comes back down to, is just getting aligned with who it is you want to be and just allowing yourself to be it. And some people will reject it, some people will not. But guess what? Like if you're a religious person, Jesus Christ, a perfect person on earth, is what some people will say. I truly believe that, but even he was crucified by people on this earth.
Persecuted.
Who didn't
and
like
hated,
him.
Yeah.
Who didn't like him for
Yeah.
who he was.
But he never allowed that to deter his purpose and his. So why
No.
should we, right?
Exactly.
And I think that, like when you truly understand your purpose and your like ability, the words you use and the words that you like surround yourself with, the language you surround yourself with will align.
Miracles happen.
And it's
too.
like it's just so cool to watch that shift and watch that change. I know for me, like in conversations and relationships, the words and the way that I view things has changed dramatically over the last few years.
Yes, it has.
And it's impacted me in such a positive way.
In your friendships, some of your friendships are different, right? Some of the conversations you're having is different, and that's different in all the right ways. But I want you to think about it. Like going back to Jesus for just a moment, like here's a man that accepted whatever his purpose was, right? To come to this earth, to teach people of God, whether you believe it or not, right? Here's someone that was so fixated on his purpose that what happened when he was here? Miracles, reported of miracles happening. And whether that's a miracle to some or a miracle or not a miracle, it was a miracle. And then also consider the fact that once again, he was deemed the perfect one, like with no sin, and still was crucified. So why on earth would you hide behind what other people think? Why are you rejecting yourself from the miracles or the opportunities that you could see in your life just by fulfilling your purpose? You yourself could see personal miracles that other people may deem as nothing, but they are miracles because you are following what your intent is. And that's what this life's designed to do.
Absolutely.
That was cool. I just felt like this aura come over me, like this, like, whoa.
I love that. I mean,
What miracles are you rejecting?
he literally walked in front of leaders and rulers and told them, like, I'm the Prince of Peace. Like, I am the, I mean, he had to have quite a bit of confidence and resolve in who he was and his purpose.
No
to
ego.
go and do that. And,
Right.
and it wasn't, not out
No.
of any kind of like conceit or
I'm
I'm
better
going
than
to prove
you.
you or no. It's just like, that was his belief. That was his deep rooted
Yeah.
purpose and belief.
Yeah.
And you couldn't convince him otherwise.
Yeah, the same thing for Martin Luther King and all like a lot of great leaders. There was a belief, they followed that belief, and look at Martin Luther King. We literally have a holiday after this gentleman because of the amazing belief and his intent to follow that, right? Same thing with some of these famous people around us. They believed it so much, they could see it, they could feel it. Like, you know, how many stories? Jim Carrey, like, I just know his story personally. I'm neither like opposed or for Jim Carrey, but anyways, the dude's like literally on his last dollar, making no money, and he just goes and gives it one more shot, and that was it. Steve Harvey, same thing. The dude literally had no job, living in someone's couch, and becomes it because he believed so much that he could, so he did. And that was what was so cool. So I want you to, as we wrap up this show, just remember the power of your words. Believe in yourself. Believe that your words actually do mean something, and they don't describe, they define. And so what are you defining yourself with your words? Are you using words that uplift, that motivate, that are positive, that are energetic, that give you life? Or are you using words of, oh man, I'm just tired all the time. I'm so grumpy. I'm so frustrated. I'm never happy. Like, pay attention to that. It's so easy to get caught up in that because of everyone else around us that speaks like that. However, it is so much more polarizing when you're talking to someone that just has so much light. And of course, that's what we want to be. And so with that being said, just want to say thank you for listening to our show tonight or today.
Absolutely.
Or whenever. It's tonight when we record. I always do that. And not anymore, though.
Those words.
Those words. But thank you so much for listening. We freaking love you. Like, just plain and simple. You're an amazing person. We know it. You know it. Allow yourself to
Live it.
Live it. Right? With that being said, thank you so much for listening. Have a great day.
Thank you for tuning in to the Matrimonial Merger Podcast. We hope you enjoyed this episode and found it informative and entertaining. If you did, we would love it if you could share this podcast with your friends and family who might also be interested in topics related to marriage and relationships. And if you have a few minutes, please consider leaving us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback helps us improve the show and reach more listeners like you. Thanks again for listening to the Matrimonial Merger. We'll be back soon with another episode.